dallascowboys.com/cowboys to get started.
This is the Dallas Cowboys Pepsi Postgame Show. Pepsi, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, here's Zach Wolchuk and Brian Broaddus.
Snap is back. Pressure from Lawson. He heaves it down the right side of the field. Double coverage. Tip to the ground. Was it intercepted or caught? Caught on a deflection.
Intercepted.
Oh, no, it was intercepted. Yeah. And by who? Amani Oruwariye.
Well, how about that? Andrew Booth gets benched in the second half, and A.O. That's what I'm going to call him, Brian.
A.O.
Just going to go with A.O.
A.O. That's what his teammates call him, A.O.
Perfect. Brad did an excellent job with pronouncing that last name. I don't think I could do as well. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout Brian Broaddus, 20-15. Cowboys get the road win over the Giants, brought to you by Pepsi, made for Cowboys watching. It is a big sigh of relief. They escape the Meadowlands with a victory. A lot to find out when it comes to some big injuries in this one as well. Of course, Micah Parsons gets carted off at the end. But the second half, the offense was humming in that first half. Dak Prescott was brilliant. CeeDee Lamb had a heck of a game. And then the Giants went on some long drives, kept the offense on the sideline, and they didn't really seem to find that rhythm. In fact, in the second half, CeeDee just one catch for 4 yards and a couple of field goals was really all the Cowboys were able to muster up.
Yeah, the first half, you mentioned it, if you could protect the front, as we said in the pregame show, and really leading up all the few days we had before this game, then you can make some plays on the secondary. And Dak Prescott found CeeDee Lamb quite a bit. He found Ferguson quite a bit. They couldn't get Cooks going in this game like I thought they might. Flock gave up some stuff late, but overall, though, you have to be pleased with I'll tell you what, it was really a gutsy performance with all the injuries that they were dealing with. The injuries were starting to pile up. Guys were having to, step in and play really some big roles in that game. And, I tell you, the drive the drive right there at the end that where Dallas was able to get points off the field goal, it was long enough to allow Diggs to go in and get the IV. That was key right there. If you want to talk about a drive that they needed points and able to get their star corner back out on the field, that was exactly what happened there. So, I think we're going to look back on it and some of the things we're going to go, why this or why that? But, man, it's not a style pointing thing in the NFL. You got to find ways to win games, and they were able to do that tonight.
Absolutely. You'll take a win, especially in division, 13 straight games that Dak Prescott has defeated the New York Giants. Very, very impressive. 877-881-1053. The number to call, the number to text. Of course, we'll hear from our Cowboys insider, Bobby Belt, Brad Sham. We'll hear from Dak and Mike McCarthy as well. Penalties huge in this one. 11 penalties for 89 yards for the Cowboys, just 4 for 35. Feels like there was about 100 that were called tonight in this game that really stalled drives. Guyton called for a couple of holds. Tolbert was called for a couple of penalties early on. One thing I was surprised about, Brian, never really gave Guyton some help over there on the left side.
It wasn't as terrible as that time we saw that Chaz Green in Atlanta, but you just had a feeling that and maybe they had to help. Maybe when we watch the tape tomorrow, they really probably had to help BB, and they felt like that maybe Guyton would be able to hold up on the outside, but. Man, it's a struggle. I mean, these edge rushers are for real. I mean, he is yet to catch one that, is not outstanding. I know in Baltimore, Oweh and some guys like that, but man, I mean, they're going to have to kind of figure something out. They got 10 days to kind of figure out because Pittsburgh is not going to afford you the ability to. No, they've
got two good edge rushers there, Highsmith and of course T.J. Watt.
Yeah, you've got to kind of figure that out and we'll see. And we'll see how that all plays out when we get to that game. But yeah, it's asking a lot for the kid. And he's every time he goes out there, he does fight. It's just not pretty how it turned out, and the holding calls were unfortunate too as well. But I will say this, and I know Bobby, you and I, Bobby was watching the game with us here,
right?
On the 3rd and 1 play, the holding call that he got. Mike McCarthy's got to help him there.
Just run the football.
Yeah. Just simply run the football, and then get the first down and then keep the clock going. Give your defense some rest, but don't put your left tackle in some bad spots on a 3rd and 1 play where he might have to hold up. So that's just me personally. I want to see the best for the kid, but I think Mike could have helped him just on that one play call. Just run the ball. With Rico Dowdle had some productive runs, Hunter Lipke with some productive runs. Even Zeke had a run or two that was pretty productive as well. So, just kind of help your team right there. Wear the Giants down. The Giants were kind of wearing you down with all the plays that they ran there in the first half. So, but hats off to the kid. He battled all game. It's not pretty, but hopefully, he'll figure some things out as we go forward.
Yeah, the Giants with some drives, 15 plays, 11 plays, 10 plays. Yeah. I mean, they definitely had the defense out there, and you could see it. I mean, Tank leaves with a foot injury. Yeah. He got it taped up, thought maybe he would come back. He didn't come back. Micah gets carted off. You had Maris Leofau get hurt at one point. I mean, it certainly a lot will be thought of about what's going on with the Cowboys and how healthy they are. Luckily, they've got kind of a mini bye week here, 10 days leading into the game against Pittsburgh. But the run defense, much improved. I mean, Devin Singletary in the Giants running game had been solid coming into tonight. 14 carries, 24 yards, only 26 total yards rushing for the New York Giants tonight as the Cowboys' run defense much better. And Mazi Smith was really good.
Yeah.
Was really good tonight.
Yeah, that's, and that's your guy, John Michael Smits at center.
I know.
He was kind of taking advantage of him.
He was eating John Michael Smits for lunch.
I'm looking forward to seeing Mazi on tape. And, in the thing with the Tank injury, Tank has struggled with foot injuries before, ankle, foot. Geez, I hope this isn't one of those mid-foot.
Didn't he have that Liz Frank? That's why he had Micah end up starting at end against the Chargers a couple of years ago.
They were taping his foot up, but like it wasn't an ankle. It was taping the bottom of that foot, and I just kind of worry about that a little bit.
Yeah, the lack of a pass rush was very alarming. I mean, I do think, personally, I think Daniel Jones helped you get this victory tonight. He was underthrowing a lot of footballs. The accuracy was poor. If you have better quarterback play, we might be talking about a different story.
I'll tell you, how about Brian Daboll kicking a field goal on the 3-yard line?
I think both coaches with a couple, Mike with some third down calls. You're like, what was going on there? But Daboll, a little cowardly at times, kicking field goals instead of going for it.
Yeah, his defense was in a little bit of some trouble there. Dak did a nice job of manipulating the pocket, moving around a little bit, making some really good throws. CeeDee was outstanding, after last week. It was nice to see him get going. And then, with Ferguson, the way that he was able to play, again, tip of the cap to, the defense. I mean, they have been much maligned the last couple of weeks. And, it's the Giants. Yeah, they got quality players. I mean, the running back, they held him in check completely today.
I did.
Neighbors, that's something you're going to deal with for a long time, that guy. Woo. And so just be ready for that one.
Yeah, Malik Neighbors, 12 for 115 on 15 targets, and he's got a concussion. He left the game early, and that is the report right now as to what the injury was with him. 20-15, Cowboys getting the win over the Giants, 877-881-1053. The number to call, the number to text as we welcome in our buddy Bobby Belt, who's going to be hanging out with us here tonight in the official postgame show of your Dallas Cowboys. And Bobby, you were listening to what we were talking about there, but Rico and the Cowboys running game was certainly a little bit better tonight. I think you saw some improvement there. But the Cowboys run defense, which had been much maligned through 3 weeks, really the last two, came to play tonight.
Yeah, I mean, the run fits were much, much better this week than they have been. The defensive line looked really assignment sound. The linebackers looked like they were seeing things quickly, that they were getting to their spots. They were, really decisive and really precise in getting to where they needed to be. And so that was a big part of this, is just that ability to just be what Micah had talked about the last couple of weeks, that they just needed to do their jobs. Yeah. And I felt like tonight, everybody for the most part did their jobs. You still don't feel great. I think when we watch this back, you're not going to feel great about a lot of the tackling.
No.
Whether it be in the run game or in some of the stuff where it's thrown out into the flat or just an open space. There was some bad tackling today. Trayvon Diggs was not great tackling today. There were just some issues.
Kendrick's missing a couple. I mean, still leads the team, but Eric Kendrick's missing a couple.
Yeah, Kendrick's had 13 tackles, and it felt like he could probably had a couple of more there. The fourth down miss by Wilson that could have given that could have given Dallas the ball right there at midfield.
Wilson and then Leah Fowl there to clean it up. Took an awful angle and just did not make the play. But to that end, again, they were strong, solid. Everybody was pretty much on their P's and Q's in terms of being in position. And DeMarvion Overshown playing the game he did tonight after what was a really bad game for him last week.
Yeah.
I thought the way he came out and just the intensity and clearly the type of aggression that he came out with, and he was very emotional throughout this game. I thought he was really, really good. Showed a lot better finish, a lot better form in wrapping these guys up. And so to me, this run game tonight, for me, first viewing before we go back and look at it on tape, this was about Mazi Smith and DeMarvion Overshown in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Overshown was cleaning up a lot of plays out there. It's amazing when your defensive tackles play a little bit better, allows your linebackers then to run free. I was quite impressed with the offensive line again and how they were able to run block. Dowdle, a solid performance, 11 carries, 46 yards, averaging over 4 a carry again.
Yeah, some tough runs too.
Yeah, as a team, just 80 yards, only 23 carries. It seemed as though in the second half, and I wonder how much the layoff between Giants' long drives, and you had about an hour after the CeeDee touchdown drive between when the Cowboys offense had to come back on the field. It seemed like it kind of killed the momentum that they had. But the second half, again, I think one talking point we'll have is the offense just did not seem quite in a sync, and CeeDee Lamb continues to disappear. I know our buddy Nick Harris with the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, he had a note of the 4 games for CeeDee in the second half. 1 catch against Cleveland for 3 yards, nothing against the Saints, 1 catch for 9 yards last week against Baltimore, and tonight just 1 for 4 yards. And that was really the key in the first half was 4 to 88. Find a way to get CeeDee the football. They handed it to him a couple of times, which I'm kind of get sick and tired of seeing, this little jet sweep deal. I don't think it's fooling anybody anymore. But CeeDee, the slow second halves, that's something they got to figure out moving forward.
Yeah, and I can't wait to get a look at the tape and see the route combinations they were running early, which it looked like a different offense jump starting day. The first series, the 3 and out was not good, but right after that, the couple of drives they had, the 2 touchdown drives there, it looked like a different offense than what we've seen out there the last couple of weeks. Not just in execution, but in the way they were choosing to attack the defense. And so when they came back out in the second half, and it was a lot of, just to the sticks and turn around and come back, or just, stuff in the flat. And I don't know if it's an issue of they got in there at halftime and they felt like, let's just not screw anything up. Like, we feel like we can beat this team if we don't turn the ball over. Let's just, keep holding them to field goals and not turn the ball over. If we do that, we'll beat them. Like I wonder if that was kind of the thought process, because it looked like a much more reserved, let's just pick up profits type of offense instead of doing things to actively challenge the Giants. And so I think that's part of what was going on there with CeeDee's involvement in the second half. But yeah, absolutely. These disappearing acts are a little odd.
I also don't know that they really have a full understanding of how to get the most out of Brandon Cook's skill set. Right, his one big play is a crosser over the middle that he almost scores on for 16 yards. 1 catch for 16 yards.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like, Brandon Cooks, this is what we want you to do. Just run a bunch of comebacks. And that's not, I think that's been proven, you're really minimizing his potential with that type of play calling and route tree. We talked about this, it feels like the majority of last season as well. And then the second half for a few weeks, it seemed to get figured out. But again, where the hell was Brandon Cooks tonight at times? You get the win 20-15, but I think a win like this against a team that is not very good in the New York Giants still doesn't make you feel great about where this football team is.
No, it really, like I say, to me, the win. I picked the Giants to win this game. I feel like that Dallas would have some struggles with the running game there. We talked about Neighbors a bunch, and they made some odd decisions. Daniel Jones kind of helping you there at the end. Some of the underthrows that he had in that game. This might have been a little bit different. Wando Robinson dropping that ball too. On right before the fourth down there. The one underneath there. Boy, that could have been a huge play. And so they help you a little bit, yeah. But I felt like though with all the injuries that they dealt with in this game, their star players just out of the game at various points in time. It was everything you had to do just to get the win. So I look at this as a positive that way. But yeah, they have got to be more consistent, and I think the play caller's got to help them a little bit, with some of the stuff that they're trying to do. And you guys mentioned the jet sweeps and stuff like that. It's, there's things there's things I know that he'll go and watch and he'll get better at, I hope, to try and kind of help his team finish these games a little bit stronger. It's kind of sad to see Aubrey miss that field goal. That's something that you kind of man.
It might have been somebody that jinxed him.
Wow.
In this room.
Well,
Bobby. Thanks a lot, Bobby.
Bobby, but
Some would say jinx, others would say, psychic.
It's crazy. It's crazy that he can make field goals from 60, and then all of a sudden you line up for a 51, and you're like, man, okay, we're going to get these 3.
I know.
And then you miss it.
You can just start a new streak. But
you gave him a chance. You gave him a chance to run some plays, but you were up to the task there at the end.
All right, Bobby, we'll continue the conversation with you. We'll also get to the phones, 877-881-1053, 972, texting in. Zach, you sound a little sickly. I am. Been battling some sickness, so I'm sorry if I sound terrible. I usually probably do anyway. I just sound a little bit worse tonight. But you're not here for me. You're here for Brian. You're here for Brad. You're here for Bobby, Dak, Mike McCarthy, so much more in the postgame show to get to. Cowboys get the win. They're 2-2. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Are you the 20...
Do you think it's true that you've got to forget something else to remember that Uber Eats has groceries?
No, that's absurd. Hey, remember when you used to be a, what was it, Pepper Lady? Pepper Lady?
Wasn't it Cinnamon Sisters?
Basil Babes.
Saffron Squad?
Nutmeg Maidens?
Pre-Curd?
No.
Nutmeg Maidens?
I just said that. Was it Spice Girls?
Doesn't sound right.
Was it Saffron Squad?
Is America's original craft vodka. WinStar World Casino and Resort. Proud to be the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Please game responsibly. Slate number Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys.
60 yards on the right hash, out of the blue paint of the Giant helmet logo. 60-yard kicks away, flying, and good.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
He really, truly is. 60 for Aubrey.
He sure is unbelievable. And Brandon Aubrey with that 60-yard field goal, just the fourth kicker in NFL history with 3 made field goals of at least 60 yards in his career, joining Brett Maher, who made 4 60-yard field goals, Greg the Leg, and Matt Prater. He's also just the second player in NFL history to make multiple field goals from 60-plus in the same season. Only other kicker to do so, 2019, Brett Maher with the Dallas Cowboys.
Brett Maher, yep.
Pretty impressive, and Bones Fossil certainly a part of both of those. I did also see, according to the 33rd team, Cooper Beebe allowing no pressures for the second time in his first 4 games. He did, of course, have a holding call that wasn't great, and he did have his hands full with Dexter Lawrence. I'm sure when we go back and watch the film, we'll see some good and bad from Cooper Beebe, but I'm liking what we're seeing through 4 games.
Yeah, I was going through just looking at some next-gen stuff, and I think they held Brian Burns off the pressure chart today.
That's impressive.
Yeah, just going back to it, this comes from Next Gen Stats. This is what I get from the NFL that goes to the actual team. Brian Burns did not generate a single pressure on 25 pass rushes in Week 4. His first career game without a pressure with at least 10-plus pass rushes. So, and then he'd matched up against Terrence Steele, 17 of his 25 pass rushes. And then Steele has now allowed 1 or fewer pressures to 6 of the 7 defenders he has faced on at least 10 pass rush snaps this season.
Wow.
So there you go.
Wow. D-Law in the locker room saying he's in pain, but he's going to be fine. Micah, according to our buddy John Machota, limping around the locker room. He's definitely in pain. But he did tell Dak Prescott that I'll be good. So maybe when we talk with Brad, who he knows down there, he can give us some more insight, but there might be some more coming.
Yeah, I reached out to some folks and I'll probably hear when they get on the bus. I'm sure there'll be MRIs involved for everybody tomorrow, and maybe we'll have a little bit better understanding then. But we'll see right now what we're dealing with. My guess is, do you feel it's an ankle injury with Micah?
Yeah, that's what he seemed to say it was an ankle, but
yeah.
We'll see moving forward. At least, luckily, he's got an extra couple of days.
Yeah.
We haven't seen Micah really have to go through a serious injury. He's played through a lot of injuries, I'm sure, but something like that to maybe force him miss some time. All right, let's hear from CeeDee Lamb, who, of course, had a monster first half, huge 55-yard touchdown for the Cowboys, 7 for 98, along with that TD on 8 targets for CeeDee. And after the game, he caught up with Kaylee Hartung on Amazon.
CeeDee, how different does it feel walking off this field compared to how you felt on Sunday?
Obviously, in better graces because we ended up with a dub. Got a mini bye week coming up. Got a lot of time to rest my body and got a little more involved.
How were you able to do that? What led to your success so many different ways in this offensive game plan?
Just staying true to who I am. Obviously, my coaches and my guys believing in me. They're doing their 111, I'm doing mine, and that's to be as motivational and make plays for the guys.
I saw your celebration after that 55-yard touchdown. What did that one mean to you after the week you'd had?
Physical in the run game.
Very long week, as we all know. It was a short week. I'm grateful for the opportunity, obviously. I'm very passionate about this game. Happy to do what I love week in and week out. And I'll see y'all again in Pittsburgh.
There's been a lot of noise surrounding this team this week. What do you think was the difference maker for you guys to come out and get this W tonight as a team?
We got to play with our chip on our shoulder. We can't really get too content with who we are and who we have on this roster. Obviously, you look from top to bottom, we could go toe-to-toe with anybody. But staying positive, again, staying true to who we are, making our right plays, being where we got to be, and then this will be the result.
Was there anyone who said anything among the Cowboy players this week that really set the tone for who you all needed to be tonight?
Coach, it went around the room, to be honest. Everybody had their moment, if you will. And it was felt throughout the team. I feel like we didn't get out to the start that we needed to, but it's a long season. We still got 13 more weeks. after this one, and I'm looking forward to the future.
There he is, CeeDee Lamb, after a 20-15 Cowboys win over the Giants here on the postgame show. Brought to you by Aristocrat. You just cheered for America's team on the field. Now see them on the reels. Cowboys-themed casino games developed by Aristocrat, now at a casino near you. Aristocrat, a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. If you have a gambling problem, please contact 1-800-GAMBLER for 21 and over. Zach Wilczek alongside the Super Bowl winning scout Brian Broaddus. We got Bobby Belt hanging out with us as well. Let's hit the phones. We got our buddy Big Jim in Round Rock. What's going on, Jim? How you doing?
Well, fellas, let me tell you something. It's a whole heck of a lot better feeling than last week. Although I tell you, it felt kind of like a big old sloppy, warm, wet kiss from your sister for a little while. But y'all remember I kind of got hacked off last week and had some strong words. But man, I got to take it off mine. We got Zimmer kind of put it together. They got the run fits all worked out. So I'm generally pleased. Obviously, it wasn't a stellar performance. These penalties have got to stop. There's just some stupid stuff. Mm-hmm. But I want to thank you, Brian. Thank you for getting me prepared this week. I watched it every night with you and Voch, and I really appreciate you getting me thank you for getting me prepared. Zach, I really appreciate all your hard work. And Bobby, I want to tell you something. Despite what that fella said a couple of weeks ago about you ruining the morning show, I'm going to tell you something. You have raised the collective IQ of that show tremendously. So you do a fine job, son, and I love listening to you, and you always bring something, and you represent the homeschooled kids quite well. So keep it up.
There we go. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Jim. We appreciate that.
I was actually born in Round Rock.
There you go,
Zach.
Okay.
If you didn't know that, so I think that's our tie. I think that's our brotherhood coming through.
Have quite the connection. That was an interesting comparison to the game there from our guy Big Jim. But yeah. I mean, hey, that one could land. All right, let's go to our buddy Charlie in New Mexico. Charlie, what's going on, man?
Hey guys, look, I'll take a win over the division foe any day on the road. But I'll be honest with you, I don't feel a whole lot better about this football team than I did last week. I just don't. It seems like to me Mike McCarthy gets in the second half, especially if we got any kind of lead, he just turns off the gas. I mean, he's got a play sheet that looks like War and Peace in front of him, but he runs the same 8 to 10 plays every freaking game for 60 minutes. I don't understand what's going on with this guy. And if they don't get Micah some help rushing the passer, he's not going to make it through the year, guys. He's just not. And that one play where he got hurt, why wasn't that a holding call? They actually tackled him.
Yeah, on with Guyton, I appreciate the call, Charlie. I had a couple people reach out as well. Like, what do you think about some of these holding calls on Guyton?
He's talking about Micah. He's asking about
the Micah one. Yeah, well, Micah we can talk about every game. I know Tyler Guyton came off the field and was yelling at a camera about the refs. He was not very happy, but. Yeah, Micah, I agree with that one from Charlie. Now, he did get finally a holding call in the fourth quarter that went against him, but I do think that's a topic probably every week we could be talking about.
Mike Garafolo, by the way, tweeted a few minutes ago, Micah Parsons spent some time icing his ankle on the Cowboys training table after the game, limping a bit, but no indications here in the locker room he suffered a significant injury.
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's great news right there.
Hopefully everything will be okay there. The thing with McCarthy, that's, man, another slow start, too. Another slow start of the game, with the 3 and out and the way that went. And I know, Bobby, you and I have kind of gone round and round about that, trying to kind of figure out that first 15. And then they kind of got into a little bit of rhythm. I think he didn't particularly help them. I mentioned the third down call that probably just run the ball, keep the clock moving, just try and keep the chains moving. But I don't know. I mean, I would say that my man has his menu thing. That play sheet looks like the Cheesecake Factory menu more than anything. Yeah. But yeah, you kind of wonder about the plays. But I'll ask you guys this: do you think he's calling the plays again because of having the rookie left tackle? That he's fearful that if he calls too many of this or too many of that, he's putting him in harm's way with some of his play calls?
No.
Look, I mean,
and here I was complaining about the 3rd and 1 call because I thought you could have helped him and just run the ball, get the first, and then keep going from that point.
Well, here's why I would say no. And Bobby, correct me if you don't agree, but I think we saw a lot of this last year in the first 5 weeks of the season. I mean, we talked to Brad about it too. You had Tyron Smith. That wasn't a rookie left tackle last year.
Yeah.
I don't think that has anything to do with it. I personally think Mike McCarthy's offense is outdated, and he's no longer a good play caller.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be part of it. There's a lot of responsibility here, too, on Dak checking them into the right stuff and Dak getting the looks he wants. I think definitely McCarthy could have some trepidation about not just one, but two offensive linemen that are rookies right now, a blindside protector and the guy making the checks.
Yeah.
That's about the two most.
You give the left tackle no help throughout the game.
No,
right?
and that's true. And that's true. And that kills any kind of argument that I have. I wonder with the way that he does call plays, and why is it that CeeDee Lamb in these second halves of games is just not a factor?
Look, I think things evolved over the course of the offseason, and when they went through the draft process, things were different. But I will say that I think once it became clear to them Tyron Smith wasn't coming back, I think when you talk to people around the team, Mike McCarthy's initial inclination when talking about team building was, I'd rather not have a rookie left tackle next year.
Yeah.
And so I know that was not his preference initially. I think it evolved when he saw Guyton and got to see that, and now he's at a point where he's comfortable with him. But I do think that he entered the offseason with that definitely being something in his mind that he didn't want.
This is going to sound just crazy, but my guy Vach Lombardi and I were talking about this one night on our podcast. Do you think that they would put Chuma Edoga in there at left tackle? Or would you? Would you even consider putting Chuma Edoga in there at left tackle? To me personally, I think my guy, I hate to say this, because I think the kid's the future, but I think I keep riding with him.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah, Guyton.
I agree, because I think...
But, you might have to think about Edoga.
If you get in a game, not like this one, which is what was our buddy's name tonight, the referee?
Clay Martin.
Clay Martin, okay, where it's the Clay Martin show featuring the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants. Get out of a game like this. If we see like 3 holding calls and sacks given up in other games from Tyler Guyton, like this becomes an issue, you're starting to talk about, okay, you're overwhelmed. But I will say, we talked about this week, Brian. The game against Baltimore, as bad as that was, you saw growth from Tyler Guyton in terms of communicating with Tyler Smith and picking up some of the twists and the stunts.
Yes.
So to me, that's a position naturally in a unit that progressively gets better as the year goes on, typically.
Mm-hmm.
And so do you want to reset that again by putting a new piece in there? I don't know that you want to do that.
I personally don't want to do it, but the question, that's why I was asking you guys, and I wonder out there if Cowboy Nation who's listening to this is like, wow, man, I'm not talking about putting Awesome Richards out there.
Right. If you had somebody that was legitimately better, Edoga, I can't forget him costing you a win against the Dolphins a year ago.
Yeah, by not knowing his assignment.
I don't think Chuma Edoga is real. I think there's times he's going to be a liability for you.
That's the thing about it is you wonder if Chuma Edoga is better than what.
I'd ride with the rookie, and I can
think
deal
so
with
too.
the growing pains with Guyton and Beebe. That's fine with me. I can't deal with losing a game because of Edoga out there.
Here's what I think, though. I think you're right. At this point, you don't make a change. I don't think they would make a change. Had Edoga been healthy, I think Edoga would have started the season. And then at that point, we're having a different conversation.
Yeah, I think you're right.
We'll pick this conversation up on the other side. We'll also get back to more of your calls and texts, 877-881-1053. But right now, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification across the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
You're turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan.
Hello, baby.
KRLD-FM and HD1, Dallas-Fort Worth.
An Odyssey sports station.
Cowboys get the win 20-15. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Hi, Drew Pearson, former Dallas Cowboys.
Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
And they're going to run the play. Hand it to Lipke, coming left. Breaks a tackle across the 40, all the way up to the 45-yard line. You cannot stop Hunter Lipke. You can only hope to contain him.
Mr. Clutch there, Hunter Lipke. Great call from the voice of your Cowboys, Brad Sham, who is joining us, brought to you by the National Medal of Honor Museum. Join the mission at mohmuseum.org. 20-15, Cowboys get the win on the road over the Giants. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout Brian Broaddus. Brad, after this one, your thoughts on a hard-fought win over the Giants that certainly leaves some injury concerns. I don't know if you have anything you can add from the locker room to help us out on how they're looking right now.
No, it's a little too early, but, I mean, it's better than losing. And just if I had told you on Monday, if I had said on Monday, the Cowboys are going to beat the Giants and the play that's going to seal the game is going to be made by Amani Oruwariye, what would you have said?
You're just showing off because you know how to pronounce the name.
Yeah, I just said who?
Damn right. I practiced
who, Brad?
it for a long time.
I'll tell you what, man.
I never could say Igbenogany.
You just did.
You just did.
Yeah, he's not here anymore.
Yeah, a nice play by Owe. But, yeah, Brad, it really a gutty.
That's such a weak way. That's such a week way out. Come on.
You know me, Brad. I'm just kind of a part-time. I'm just a part-timer in that booth of yours. I'm not a full-time. But I just want to, just overall, though, the number of guys that did have to play to finish that game, gutty performance for them to hang on the way they did.
Yeah, there's no doubt, and it's what they mean when they say next man up. I mean, it's that way in every sport, right? Somebody gets hurt, and somebody's got to replace him. But you're starting the game with your fifth corner. Because Carson's your fourth corner,
right? And
he is out. So now you're starting with Booth, and you've activated Oruwariye, and the last thing you want is to put him on the field, and then you got to play him for a half. So that was huge. And then Lawrence, I don't believe, came back.
No, he did not.
Nothing of Parsons. There at the end, and so everybody else just has to do their best. And fortunately, that's not the 85 Bears they were playing.
Yeah.
And the key is going to be to continue to somehow build, because I would not say they played well, but they played as well as they had to, and they overcame a lot. A lot of it was self-inflicted, and some of it was injuries, and that's part of the game. The Giants were also injured, though, Brian, as you know.
Yes.
They came in without some people and lost some people along the way. So that's just life in the NFL. But you do have to give the Cowboys credit for the guys who came from deep off the bench to make significant plays. And also, can we say that I don't care what package you have on the field, it better include Overshown?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he maybe a little rough last week and, with some of the misses, but, man, the way he's able to track and run guys down. I want to go back, Brad, real quick with the changing of the corners, though. Kind of a deal where, to me, it's a pretty gutsy call right there, right? When you're like, is it just that Booth?
You benched him at halftime?
Yeah, Booth getting benched, and you're saying, okay, we're just going to play a call-up, I mean, I know I've been telling people all along that if you don't get the job done, Zimmer will take you off the field.
Yeah, right. That's exactly right.
And that was the best example right there of, hey, you're not getting the job done, and we're gonna put a call up in there to try and play this game.
To be fair, it's not like he's a rookie free agent. The guy's, got like 5 years experience.
No, right.
But if he was good, then corners are in short supply. He'd be playing somewhere. He's good enough to be on the field and, give you an opportunity to compete. But I think you're 100% right. Look, what we saw in preseason after they traded Booth for Nashawn Wright. And I think as soon as I'm surprised Booth didn't break his ankle on that play at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
And I think knowing Zim for as long as I have, I think that he looked at that and said, the first opportunity I get, I'm just tired of looking at you.
Yeah.
And the next guy, whoever he is, will be better because he's not you. And once upon a time, Zim might have said that to the guy. Now I think he just get me another guy.
Yeah, I just, like I said, I kind of felt like that it's one of those decisions like we can't win with this. We can't win with Booth. Right. We got to try something different here. So good for them for doing that.
Yeah.
While we're talking defense, Brad, Mazi Smith, and I know when it comes to line play, the tape will tell all, but just from watching this one, Mazi seemed like he might have had his best night.
Yeah, I think that's right, Zach. I think he pretty clearly did. And, as Babe said during the game, nobody wants to hear it because he's everybody's favorite whipping boy. But, some of the fans getting on the bus are happy.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear it because he's everybody's favorite whipping boy, but he is getting better. Incrementally, slowly. Is he giving you what you want a first-round pick to give you? No, but he didn't draft himself in the first round. You decided to pick him there, and he's unquestionably better than he was at any time last year. I think he's better. Brian, you can weigh in. I think he's better than he was at any time during training camp.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes.
So he is now a functional player who every now and then will make a play.
Yeah.
And that's good. You are not strong at the defensive tackle position. No. And he is a functional player, and that's better than apparently like Anthony Booth. So
yeah. Brad, are we still going with the functional player right now at left tackle? And I know that, we're all in agreement here. Bobby and Zach and myself are like, if Adoga was available, whatever, I really don't care. I'm still playing the kid. Me too. That's my future. I'm not, and it might look terrible. It might look bad. I hope he doesn't hurt us in a game and give one up, but I'm still playing the kid, even if Adoga was healthy.
I think we know enough about him to know that he's mentally tough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if that's true, if that assessment's accurate, then he will fight through this. There's not a rookie tackle. Well, there might be some, but there are very few rookie tackles who don't experience some difficulties because these ends, some of these ends are serious.
Yes.
And he certainly ran into it last week. And then tonight it was a little bit obvious in some places, and he's scuffling. But, Brian, I'm completely with you. Adoga, I don't know what he gives you. And so if you don't want to play Guyton, what's your alternative?
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's – I think, Awesome Richards is a really good backup player, and they probably like him better at guard. And I think that you have to have a long view. Parcells used to say, and he said it better than anybody else that I remember, that sometimes when you make decisions on who to play, you are not just looking at the guy today.
Yes.
You are looking like 2 months down the road.
Yes.
And so the Guyton will not get better if we agree, and I think everyone does, that he is going to be a really good player. If that's correct, then he's not going to improve by being pulled out when he has a rough night. Play through it.
Yep.
He'll work hard. He'll correct what he can correct. And then you should be better off as a team, like I said, 2 months down the road.
Any final thoughts on this one, Brad?
Glad it's over.
Yeah.
They didn't play well. The penalties are unbelievable, just atrocious. And they have to fix that. The running game was acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
But there were so many like that third down thing that he threw to Lipke out in the flat that should have gone down the field.
Yeah.
That was because we think it was Tolbert lined up in the wrong place on the other side of the line. And by the time Cooks and Ferguson and 2 or 3 other people tried to move him around, and everybody was now confused about who was going where. The clock's running down, and Dak's got to snap the ball. So it looks really bad for Dak and McCarthy when that's the play, and everybody says, why'd they call that? Well, you know what? They didn't call that. Somebody else screwed up and lined up wrong, and that's what makes football, to me, such a special game. If I line up wrong before the ball's ever snapped, I might ruin the play. And so you really have to work hard on the teamwork. Now, the coaching's got to work on that stuff. They can't have that. But, I thought they ran the ball okay, and they can build on that, I think. And they're going to get, an extra 3 days that they desperately need physically and mentally. But I think, and Zach, I'm sure you guys have talked about it a lot, if they'd lost the game, this thing could have gotten real sideways real fast.
Absolutely.
Yep.
No question. So now they're 2-2. Let's not plan any parades.
Yeah.
But now you're feeling a little bit better about yourself. You go into the weekend, you rest up, you look at what you screwed up, give the coaches a chance to really devour the Steelers, and take a chance next week. It's better than the alternative.
Thank you so much, Brad. We will look forward to catching up with you again next week from Pittsburgh. Safe travels.
Yep, thank you very much. Have a great night, guys.
There he goes, the voice of your Cowboys, Brad Sham, brought to you by AT&T, the official 5G innovation partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Some thoughts to unpack there on Jalen Tolbert. We can get back to more of your calls and texts. Plus, we'll hear from Coach McCarthy and Dak Prescott. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Cowboys Nation watch parties are officially...
Uber Eats has low fee products? I gotta remember that.
Well, they say in order to remember something, you have to forget something else. Okay, now that is a very cute haircut.
That's like a little shag. I've never seen it before.
Well, of course you have. It's the Rachel.
Oh, is that your name?
No, I mean like your name.
No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen.
Right, but I just mean like this is your haircut.
But that's hair on your head.
I'm not saying this is your hair.
Okay, freaking me out a little bit.
is the best in Texas. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
At the Dallas 16.5, snap to Jones. Looking, no pressure. Now they put a hand on him. Now he gets away. Now there's a flag. Now he's sacked. Lawrence and Overshown involved in the sack.
Wow, DeMarvion Overshown, what a game it was for him today as he was flying around, making his presence felt, second in the team in tackles with 8 total tackles. And Overshown was brilliant. 877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text. 20-15, Cowboys get the win over the Giants. They improved to 2-2. They're actually 2-0 on the road this year. Speaking of DeMarvion Overshown, he caught up with the reporters post-game after this win over the Giants.
I can stop the run, I can run all over the field, but I just want my energy to be contagious like I always say. And I never want to put tape on where I'm not getting to the ball. I feel like that's contagious. And when we all get 11 hats to the ball, the yak, it drops down tremendously and we're able to get off the field. I think we definitely took these last couple of weeks personal. You see a lot of stuff, and when you throw around that S word, soft, we're a bunch of grown men, and we don't like that. So throughout the whole week, just paying attention to the details, knowing what we're capable of, and all of us just doing our job. You really didn't have too many people trying to do, too many things at once, and I feel like that really helped us.
You mentioned the S word. Are you hearing that a lot?
It was put out there, on a couple networks, couple shows, couple people that coach from home. But like I say, we see all that, and we humans, but most of all, we grown men and competitors. And when you throw that word around, we don't take that lightly. So this whole week, we've been wanting to come out here and showcase what we're capable of. Now we just got to stack them.
DeMarvion Overshown, after his best performance, in my opinion, as a Dallas Cowboy, 20-15, they get the win. The word soft, which we actually discussed with Brad Sham at AT&T last week after the game, Brian, that is certainly a phrase that will anger any NFL player. But it was hard to not possibly put that label the way that the defense played the previous 2 weeks. They took that personally. It certainly reflected, at least in the run defense here tonight.
Yeah, I don't like hearing we see all that. Like I don't like that. I don't like this the team's hyper awareness, it seems like, of criticism, not in a productive manner. There just seems to be too much of an awareness of like, what are people talking about? What are people saying? Like they hear way too much of it. And maybe tonight they can say, look, we responded. This was not a perfect game by any means. But that means what that tells me is all these other times you hear this criticism, that means you heard all of it after New Orleans too. So did it get in your head? Is that what you're telling me? Because I don't like talking about an awareness of it. I know it's impossible to block out all the noise, but to say we see all of that just feels like you don't need to listen to everything that's being said about you out there in the news, because right now a lot of it is not going to be good.
That's our Cowboys insider, Bobby Belt, who's joining us here on the official postgame show of your Dallas Cowboys, brought to you by WinStar. As the casino of the Dallas Cowboys, WinStar knows what it means to be a star. With over 10,000 of your favorite electronic games, the all-new 2-story WinStar Spawn Cascades, their luxury pool complex. WinStar really is the place to feel like a star. Please game responsibly. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout, Brian Broaddus. To your point, Bobby, I think that's interesting. I don't necessarily disagree with that, but I have always felt one of the biggest lies told in sports is, well, we don't listen to the outside noise.
Sure.
So I do, in a sense, somewhat appreciate the honesty there, like at least acknowledging, yeah, we do. We know everything that's said, but you can't allow that to really seep into a locker room and have that have any mental effect.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% there. I've always thought, and Brian, I know you and I have talked about this before, I've always thought block out the noise was about the most negligent thing you could try to preach to a team here in Dallas.
Yeah.
Because it's not possible. You can't block out the noise. Mm-mm. So what you're doing is you're not properly equipping them to, here's how you deal with the noise, because it's going to seep in. You're going to hear some of it. So I absolutely understand that they hear some of it. I'm fine with that acknowledgement. It's just I don't like that. And it's not just DeMarvion Overshown there. It's a tone from a lot of people in the locker room over the last couple weeks that sounds like they're actively searching for it. And it sounds like we're hearing all of it and we see all of it and we're engaging with it, and it's taking up space in our, our mental, like it's taking up mental space for us. I don't love hearing that, because it tells me they're still not totally focused on the right things at all times, I think.
All right, let's hit the phones, 877-881-1053. Let's go out to line 7. Is this Bayless in Houston? If I'm mispronouncing that, I apologize, sir.
No, that's me. I just want to say, yo, Bobby.
Yeah, I know.
You going to make it to work on time this week?
Yeah.
All right, I hope so. Also, that guy, Big John, I disagree with him. You did not raise the IQ on the morning show. You brought it back down. That's all I got to say. Thank you for taking my call. Have a good night, y'all.
It's Jim. It's Jim Bayless. It's Big Jim. Okay?
Bayless, I don't understand. How does it bring it back down? That means it went up initially when I got here, and then I brought it back.
You're like
down.
one of the smartest guys I've ever been around.
Oh, thank you. I don't know that that's accurate.
You don't have to lie,
that sounds about like the take from somebody named Bayless.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. All right, let's go to
Bayless is angling for being on the G-Bag of the G-Bag
We're not going to
Nation.
put him on this week.
I don't think we should put him on.
We're not putting him on this week.
Not this week. He's in scouting, I'd call him a one-trick pony.
Yeah, Bayless. In fact, he just blew it. You're not going to be on the postgame show ever again, because I know where you're calling from now, Bayless.
Yeah.
We're not getting got again, buddy.
Yeah, wait. I could hear your Eastern type tone you got working.
Yeah. Sound very Philadelphia,
very nasally,
smarky,
very snarky kind of guy. Yeah.
Brandon in Iowa. Brandon, what do you got for us?
Hey guys, how's it going?
It's going.
I just sitting here thinking about the game. First time caller. I just look at this team and it just feels like there is just deficiencies in multiple areas. We're paying a quarterback like we are. We're paying the wide receiver like we are, and we can't score. Drives are stalling because you hear Mike McCarthy all the time talking about physical toughness, yet we really don't run the ball. We're talking about Tolbert lining up wrong on a 3rd and 1. We got Zeke Elliott that we went and paid. Well, that's the one thing he can do is be physical. I just don't understand what's going on at times. Defensively, I'm calling from Iowa, big Hawkeye fan. The Cowboy defense looked a lot like the Iowa defense does in college, where they bend but they didn't break tonight, and that was a really good thing to see. They didn't allow the big play. Mazi Smith, there were times where he, suplexed and Singletary there. He showed up tonight. Overshown showed up. So there is things to build on defensively, but I tell you,
give me your fixes.
Very
then
worried about.
I'm going to give you a platform. Give me your 2 quick fixes on offense, please.
On offense,
yeah.
I don't think we have enough. I don't think we have a consistent enough running game. I don't think we have the talent in the running back room to be consistent.
Okay.
And I don't think Dak, aside from CeeDee, I'm not sure what's going on with Cooks, because last year he really balled out at times.
Sure.
I'm not sure if that's a scheme thing or what. I just don't think Dak seems to have enough weapons. And then I think to go along with that, I think the offensive line, Guyton, he's a work in progress. And but we talk about putting people in position to succeed. 3rd and 1 there, that was a really good opportunity to run the ball and show your toughness. And we put
I agree. I agree. They put Guyton in a terrible position there to have to make. Yeah, I totally get right. But appreciate the call.
Yeah, I agree. Now, I think that the 3rd down play that Brad was describing, in which Tolbert lined up wrong, was the 3rd and 12.
Yes.
When Dak threw it in the flat to Hunter Lipke.
Yes, that's 3rd and 12.
For 3 yards.
Yeah.
And Brad was saying that ball should have been going down the field, but Tolbert was in the incorrect place. I agree with Brandon, and we all talked about that in here. 3rd and 1, there was absolutely no reason to be throwing that football. Line up and run it.
Yeah, run it, get the first down. Bobby was going through all the Hunter Lipke plays and what a key he was in this football game.
This is about as good a game as you could have from Lipke in terms of big moments, or as anybody could have. So he had the 3rd and 3. There's 6:26 left in the first quarter. He gets the 3rd and 3, 11-yard reception. A few plays later, Rico Dowdle scores the touchdown. He then 4th and 1, 9:59 left in the second quarter. He gets the carry. He shakes Kayvon Thibodeau, who hit him behind the line of scrimmage, picks up the first down. The very next play is the 55-yard touchdown to CeeDee Lamb. Then he picks up the 3rd and 1 conversion in the fourth quarter. milks another 2 minutes off the clock before the Aubrey missed field goal. And then he had 3 special teams tackles tonight. So you're talking about your 2 touchdown drives were extended because of conversions by Lipke, and then you took off a critical 2 minutes off the clock at the very end.
See, to me, that's 3rd and 1. You hand the ball to Hunter Lipke or hand it to one of the, Dowdle, hand it to somebody. I mean, you just keep the clock running. Your defense had already endured way too much in that game. So to me, play calling right there. But I could see why the caller. I agree with a lot what he was saying.
Yeah, I mean, you get a division win, big picture. Thank God they won this football game, or else we would be having a very different conversation.
Yeah.
We'd be talking about who's getting fired and is it time to start firing up the draft show.
Yeah,
but there are still it's a win, and as I mentioned earlier, there's still definitely a lot of things to be concerned about with this football team, specifically the way the offense is. Again, you've got 2 wins in both of them. The offense really kind of stalled and was non-existent in the second half.
Yep, exactly.
You've got an issue with getting your best player, CeeDee Lamb, the football in second halves of games. There's definitely correctable things here. The missed tackles on defense, all the penalties.
Brian, I'm thinking back because it's a point Zach brought up, and I think it's good. And I'm just curious what you would have thought when you were a personnel guy. Remember a couple of years ago, the 2017, not a couple of years ago, it's a while back now, the Denver game where there was the hour-long wait before they got back on the field because of the storm.
The storm.
And, and it killed Dallas's offense. Do you think that can kill? I mean, can that effectively kill the offense?
I think Denver killed your defense. I think didn't Zeke have like 9 yards in that game, and Dak was bad. I mean, I think Denver killed you in that game.
The hour of not touching.
But just an hour of not being on the field.
I understand what you're saying. I don't know, because like I said, I think the Giants defense hurts you today in some things. That's
right.
what I think.
Yeah, that's a good topic to carry over. We'll get to more of the calls and the texts as well. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Experience a fabulous fall shopping day at the
Do you think it's true that you've got to forget something else to remember that Uber Eats has groceries?
No, that's absurd. Hey, remember when you used to be a, what was it, Pepper Lady? Pepper Lady?
Wasn't it Cinnamon Sisters?
Basil Babes.
Saffron Squad?
Nutmeg Maidens?
Paprika?
No.
Nutmeg Maidens.
I just said that. Was it Spice Girls?
Doesn't sound right.
Was it Saffron Squad?
Relax on 18 miles of uninterrupted coastline. Go to visitportaranzas.com and get acquainted with the island life.
Snap back, no pressure, throws it underneath to Neighbors, and a terrific tackle by Overshown. Has him right now at about the 30.
20-15, Cowboys beat the Giants. They get another win, 13 in a row for Dak Prescott over the New York Football Giants. How about that? Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout, Brian Broaddus. We got Bobby Belt, who's hanging out with us as well.
I just learned that Bob Greasy beat the Buffalo Bills 17 times in a row.
All right, so just a few more to go, Dak.
Yeah, Dak's on his way.
Just a few more to go. We did get this in. I know Nick Harris, our friend John Machota, they've all been tweeting it from the locker room, but Micah Parsons said X-rays were negative.
Yes.
He's got an MRI scheduled for tomorrow.
That's true.
And he's said, according to John, that he's going to try to play next week.
We'll see.
So the hope is Micah will be good to go. In fact, Micah did catch up with the media post-game, and here is Micah Parsons.
Man, I mean, we need more of a separation. We let them drive a little bit, a couple momentum things, big plays that they were getting. When you do that, we need to rush better. We got to do a lot of things, but it was a good start. We're just not satisfied.
Yeah, we got one. This was a relief just to get a win after everything we talked about the last 2 days.
Yeah, I told you, winning is important. It's hard to do in this league. So, edging out a 20-15 win, but it wasn't perfect. You know what I'm saying? I'm done scraping by. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to scrape by no more. I want legit wins. I want to win consistently. And we got a tough matchup next week. Yeah, I'm going to try to get back for it.
They only had 1 yard to carry. Just what was different about the run defense?
Man, the mentality, right? Like I said, it's nothing, the thing about football, yeah, they say it's X and O, but everything's about mentality. Resetting the line of scrimmage, toughness, dominating the man in front of you. That's all football's about. And everyone locked in on that. You know what I'm saying? I told you we came in Sunday, but I told you, flashing is good. Let's do it consistently.
You guys got the quarterback.
A team like that where there's a lot of chips, a lot of slides, a lot of running back help. The running backs, I don't even think he released for a route unless it was a screen. What I realized in this league, even the best get help. You know what I'm saying? So, we'll create a better plan for idea of that. I don't think we've seen a consistent running back, tight end help that much. Maybe chips on the outside, but I'm telling you, he was stepping up into B gaps, sliding our way. It was a good plan, but we got to create a better plan for it.
What was the difference in stopping the run tonight compared to the previous 2 weeks?
I'm in shock at Mazi, man. Mazi was dominant, bro. I told you, Mazi just keeps just getting better and better and better. I always tell him it starts and ends with him, and I told him, I said, this is how you're going to play. Make sure you get a massage every week. I made sure I had a nice massage today. He was like, I need it. I was like, I got you. So I said, I'm going to have a massage for you every week now.
Well, boom. There it is. That's a secret sauce there for Mazi Smith, huh? Just get yourself a pregame massage.
I wish I could get in on that deal.
Well, I'm sure after today's gauntlet that you've gone through, we can get you a nice
we're
cold
good, man.
tub.
I appreciate though. Hey, you know what? And I'm looking forward to seeing. I do hope that Mazi Smith is. It's nice when he's a plus player.
Yeah, it wasn't just the fact of he was good. It was he was. If you want to talk about in the first half, he was a force.
Yeah,
he was
defensive tackles. You're not really noticing. You were noticing.
No, this was
Smith.
legitimate difference making plays at one technique. And so to me, that is the first time that the one technique has flashed in that kind of obvious TV copy way that consistently in a while for the Cowboys. Not just Mazi Smith. I don't even know that I saw Hankins flash like that consistently. He would have his moments, and he was always really strong at the point of attack. Sure. He had a good anchor, but I didn't see him just driving into the backfield as consistently as Mazi did. Mazi did that on 3 straight snaps at one point tonight, and maybe that's just says something about John Michael Schmitz too. Either way,
there's some people that can evaluate sinners and others that can't.
Well, I know Bobby sure can. He didn't want to draft Cooper Beebe. He wasn't even on his draft board.
I liked Cooper Beebe.
No, you didn't.
I did.
You hated Cooper Beebe. I had to fight you tooth and nail for Cooper Beebe. You were not a fan.
Here you go.
I'll own John Michael Schmitz though. Tonight, not a good night for him.
Not a good night.
I still think that guy's going to be a good player.
He's actually is pretty good when you watch him play. So Mazi wearing him out, I think, is. But
he's smaller, and Mazi dominating a guy of that size, which he should do.
Well. What was our guy? I always say his name wrong from the
Kelsey.
No, the Ravens, Linderbaum.
Oh, Linderbaum, yeah.
Yeah, Linderbaum. He's small. I think him and Linderbaum about the same size. John Michael.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Injury update from the Giants. Jordan Renan said that Brian Burns was doing his post-game media and called over to Malik Neighbors in the middle of it and said, "Are you good?" And Malik Neighbors went, "No." And then he walked off.
Well, early report is a concussion, but he was getting beat up pretty good
His face
tonight.
looked like it got jammed into the turf pretty good on that fourth down play.
And Overshown had a big hit on him.
If he doesn't get driven into the ground there on that play, I think he holds on to that ball, and I think that's a massive fourth down catch on the sideline because he got his toes down. He just couldn't hold on to the ball.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, and shout out to my guy Cooper Beebe. No pressures for the second time in 4 games. Freaking stud right there. That's our guy.
What happened the other 2 games?
Might not have been good, all right? But
I will say
I don't
this,
think we have as big concerns right now about Coop as we do.
I will say
Tyler.
that they double teamed that guy.
They needed to. Okay.
20 of the 25.
Dexter Lawrence, or else Lawrence might have been doing the same thing in fairness to Cooper.
I totally agree.
They needed to do that. But Tyler Smith, post-game, apparently biting his tongue when asked about the penalties against the Cowboys offensive line, said, quote, "I'm not going to say it. Roger Goodell protects those guys like John Gotti." But
I'm not going to say it, but then I just did.
But they weren't happy. Like Tyler Guyton wasn't happy. Tyler Smith wasn't happy. I mean, this is probably going to need to be a film study, but the Cowboys offensive line not happy about some of these holding calls.
Did anybody ask him, say, well, what about the 15-yard face mask that the Giants got called for?
That's when it's so hard to, like, was the officiating good? No. But that helped you probably keep a touchdown off the board and ruin a Giants drive by that. That should have been called an Overshown that was not and was called on the New York Giants. So, hey, you win some, you lose some.
Clay's crew had a rough day.
They did, but the Cowboys are now undefeated with Clay.
So that's why I do a referee report every week.
It is. It's good to
By
listen
the way,
to.
did you see they called a 12-man on the field?
You nailed it. They called the Cowboys for a 12-man on the field.
There's
you said
some
it
things I'll pat myself on the back for when I
There's a pat on the back.
When I tell you about the referees, I'm going to pat myself on the back.
No, you need to, because nobody else in this room is going to give you a pat on the back about anything. You got to pat yourself on the damn back sometimes.
There you go.
877-881-1053. Let's fit in a call here on the official postgame show of your Dallas Cowboys. Let's go to Eric, line 6. Eric in Odessa has been waiting a while. What's going on?
Yes, sir. How you boys doing?
Fantastic.
I feel pretty doing good, man. This question is really for Brian Broaddus. What grade do you give Micah Parsons tonight? I mean, I feel like whenever he was one-on-one, he wasn't getting through, and I'm just really upset with him right now. But I want to give a couple game balls out right now, and I'm going to give a game ball to Dak Prescott because Dak Prescott makes good throws. Every time, everybody wants to down Dak Prescott, but he makes good throws. Whenever he's in the pocket and he steps out, he just makes a throw right there. And Butter Aubrey, man, it's butter. And that's all I got to say. Appreciate y'all tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. No grade on Micah.
I get to watch the tape, and
we'll have a grade tomorrow. Chris,
I get three
on the flagship
340 tomorrow.
Nation.
Yeah, I'm on about 7 different platforms before I'm doing that one. But yeah,
that's the one I want you to listen to.
Yeah, the thing about it is, you can't. The thing with Micah, you wonder how many times he's single block. You wonder how many times he's doubled. You wonder, I mean, there's a lot of things you can kind of get in with Mike. I just kind of felt like with Micah that, to me, when you watch him play, like Andrew Thomas was a guy I felt like that he could kind of break down, and he's had some success against him in the past. And I think Micah might have taken him up the field too much tonight. When you want to beat Andrew Thomas he can't handle things to the inside. And I think there was one time where Micah did catch him.
It was at the end of the game, that big run stuff.
Yeah, the runs he jumped him in. That's kind of where you have to. That's where you kind of have to get it on him for sure.
877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text. All right, let's go to Scott in Jersey, line 4. Scott, what's going on, man?
Hey, guys, what's going on, guys? Great game tonight. We own them. You know that. With that said, what did we fix tonight? Did we fix the run defense, or did we fix the red zone touchdown? One more thing. You know what? We depend too much on Aubrey. What do you think about that, Ross?
I think you probably fixed the red zone offense not at all. I think you might have had, one touchdown in the red zone? The Rico Dowdle screen?
One attempt, one touchdown.
So I can't really say, not a big enough sample size. And the run defense definitely took a step in the right direction tonight.
I kind of felt like that the Giants would try and run the ball, and I thought that Singletary would have some success. And they really did a nice job of kind of bottling all that up.
Yeah, run fits were better.
A lot better. And you mentioned it about Overshown. When he's on and he makes tackles. And last week he was there, he missed tackles. And it was clear. As a team, they missed a lot of tackles last week. This week I felt like they missed a lot less tackles, but there were still some key ones that I think if I want to say missed tackles this game, would you say 4? 5?
It may have been more than that because there were at least, I think 3 of their first 4 conversions that the Giants had on 3rd and 4th down were throws to the outside or runs to the outside where somebody just couldn't make a tackle. Like they were there and then just missed the tackle. The guy that had a lot of issues tackling tonight was Diggs. Diggs had that happen.
Missed 2. Kendricks missed 2. I can think of Wilson missing 1. Leofau missing 2.
So we're talking like 10?
Yeah, there were a lot of
in some
tackles.
instances it was
I was
like
trying
2
to pay
missed.
attention to that. I need to mark that down on my sheet.
Hooker, there was one where Hooker came in too, and there were 2 different instances where he did that, and he did this at Ohio State for years. He did that throw his shoulder into him.
Yeah,
And he did it twice, and he bounced off a Singletary.
Yeah.
And so, I think they are just fundamentally a bad tackling team. That's just what they are right now. Overshown is one of your better ones. I think that's why it was so disappointing last week that he wasn't finishing.
Yeah.
Was because he is one of the better ones.
I agree, yeah.
We'll get back to the lines, 877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text. We've also got Dak Prescott to hear from as well. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna.
Make your crypto play today. The islands of the Bahamas. Fly away. Jackpot.com. The Powerball jackpot continues to grow. Buy your Powerball tickets now on Jackpot.com. And by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys.
Lamb is in a slot on the right this time. Snap to Prescott, looks right, now goes screen left. Dowdle with a block to the 10, to the 5. He's into the end zone, touchdown.
Oh, baby, how about that? Your drive of the game, a screen that worked for a second. There were flags on the ground. We were thinking, oh my gosh, this is not going to stand. It did. Thank you very much. Your drive of the game, 12 plays, 75 yards, culminating in that Dak Prescott to Rico Dowdle screen for a touchdown. Drive of the game brought to you by Blockchain. Trust the team at blockchain.com to make buying, selling, and trading crypto easy. Play smarter, not harder with blockchain.com. 20-15. Cowboys get a road division win over the Giants. Zach Wolchuk hanging out with you alongside the Super Bowl winning scout Brian Broaddus. We've even got our buddy Bobby Bell in studio hanging out with us as well, your Cowboys insider. 877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text. But before we get to that, we do have to hear from your quarterback, Dak Prescott, following this Cowboys win.
You guys got off the fast start, 11 of 12, got CeeDee involved there. How important is that?
That was huge. As you said, getting CeeDee going, big-time playmaker, getting him some catches, in the second drive there, led to a touchdown, able to overcome some penalties even on that drive, get there in the third drive, they leave him one-on-one, able to attack that. After Luke on a big fourth down conversion, it was huge, but we've got to build off of those drives and continue to go. Didn't finish the way that we wanted to, not to our standard. Left in the hands of the defense, which is credit to those guys for finishing, getting it done, not allowing any touchdowns. But we're an offense that can finish better and score more touchdowns than we did tonight. So we've got to look at ourselves in the mirror and go get that done.
Yeah, Todd Archer with ESPN, how vital was getting a win tonight?
It was huge. It was huge. Yeah, after obviously losing 2, especially at home. Coming on the road, first division game. Division wins are always tough. As I said, then you add on the road. Before a long weekend, puts a better taste in our mouth. But at the end of the day, as I've said, even after those 2 losses a couple weeks, or the past 2 weeks, it's a process. So we're not going to get complacent. We're not going to get overexcited about what we've done tonight. It's about building, and it's about figuring out what we can do better in all phases. But it's a lot easier to do that with the win.
I think it's your 5th game where you've had a 80% completion percent or better in your career. Okay. Does that mean you're seeing it? Is that kind of what you're talking about, how you feel like you're seeing it?
Yeah, I mean, I was shooting for 80 tonight. As much as, as well as I've been seeing it, obviously the first 3 games, the percentage hasn't showed that. So understanding that tonight we're going to have the opportunity for some underneath throws, attacking the autobahns, we say, outside one-on-ones, getting CeeDee the ball. We knew we had an opportunity to just get off to a good start, get the run and the completions. Mike always talks about that, the rushes and the completions. So I think that's probably a solid number. Hadn't looked at the stats, but seeing it well.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas News. We talked the last couple of days about professionalism, hero ball, and all that. How much was that just us, or was that you guys really internally trying to get your act together?
One more time.
How important was it to get your act together after all the discussions you guys had about professionalism and hero ball and those kinds of things?
We got to continue to be pros. That's not done. That's not done when you get a win, and that's my point about we're not going to get overexcited or hopefully the guys don't listen to anything that's being written now, good or bad. It's about focusing on this process. We're able to get a win tonight, puts us at 2-2, going into a long weekend, but we've got to go on the road next week against a good Steelers team, who may be undefeated, right? Who may be undefeated when we play them, right? Yeah, so it's going to be in a tough environment. I hadn't played there since my rookie year, so I'm looking forward to that, and that's really all that matters is taking care of our bodies, being smart, healthy this weekend, getting back at it Monday, and being pros, continue to work, trust the process, trust one another, be accountable, and go and put the best version of ourselves out there next Sunday.
What was it to see the running game progress this week after what you've seen the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's huge. Obviously, it's a couple young linemen up front. Being able to get them going, get their confidence going, get the backs going, that opens up the play action, that opens up the nakeds, allows us to just spread the ball outside. You got to have a run game to win in this league, so as long as we can continue to build on that, we'll be fine.
There's Dak Prescott after a 20-15 Cowboys victory over the Giants. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification across the Dallas Cowboys radio network.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan.
Go low, baby.
KRLD-FM and HD1, Dallas-Fort Worth.
An Odyssey sports station.
877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text. Your thoughts on Dak and what he said postgame. Anything stand out to you? I mean, got to continue to be professional.
Yeah.
Doesn't want the Cowboys to eat the cheese. Hopefully they're not reading the clippings. A little bit different from what Overshown said earlier, because it seems like they're probably going to read them.
Yeah, but I mean, again, it also seems to underscore the fact that he says, hopefully they're not listening to it anymore, which means he's acknowledging, like Overshown seemed to, that they're listening to all of it. Which, again, that's not what you want, because it way too frequently will lead to distraction and to your detriment, I would think, than to any sort of positive internalization and motivation technique. But overall, yeah, you're going to be happy with a win, especially a road win on a short week in the division. Those are all good things, but it needs to be put in the proper context of this is a positive, but this is by no means a cure-all for the things that have been ailing this team.
Yeah, I mean, I think that big picture, if they were playing against a quarterback who was better down the field, this probably would not be a win tonight. I think Daniel Jones aided them quite a bit defensively when it came to getting some stops by being inaccurate. And offensively, you stalled in the second half and were not able to maintain and put pressure. So you take a win. It is hard in the NFL, especially a divisional win. Thank God they got this win, or else all hell would be breaking loose right now in the postgame show. But there is so much to be working on to this for this team to even be considered, I mean, good. I don't even know that they are still a good team right now. I can't say that they are.
No, and I mean, you just mentioned it there. Steve Palazzo over at PFF, he had a line tonight that is, I think, pretty accurate. And it's similar to what you just said. He said if Daniel Jones could even get in the vicinity of hitting a deep ball, the Giants win this game. And that's probably the truth. Because he tried, 6, 7 of those tonight, and he could not hit it.
I just kind of felt like that they were going to try. With the corner situation, the way even if Carson had played in the game, I kind of felt like that they were going to try. But if you watch the Giants tape, they haven't hit deep balls all year.
No.
That's been a problem for them. They keep trying, and I'm like, well, eventually it's going to happen, and hopefully it doesn't happen, this evening against the Cowboys.
Thank goodness it didn't.
But I was thinking they're going to throw some balls on these Cowboy corners and see if they can, see how well that Hooker and Wilson and those guys can play with some range.
Yeah, and I mean, they did have to scheme some stuff up. Next Gen Stats had the note tonight. Malik Neighbors had 12 receptions for 115 yards on 15 targets. He had 9 receptions on 10 targets after going in motion pre-snap.
Yeah.
And that's the most of any player in the Next Gen Stats era. Also, we talked about Cowboys needed to protect tonight. They held Brian Burns without a pressure for the first time in his career when he's had at least 10 pass rush snaps.
Yes, which is like, I get, hey, you got called for a lot of offensive penalties tonight along the line, and Guyton, at least before going back and watching the tape, it seemed like he struggled at times. But big picture, I think your offensive line held up okay. I mean, especially in the first half, your 2 touchdown drives seemed like Dak had some time to throw. Now, Next Gen Stats does say Dak was at his best in the quick game.
Yeah.
He completed 13 of 14 under 2.5 seconds for 143 yards in both of those touchdowns. So he was plus 21.2% completions over expected on quick passes. That's the highest mark in a game since 2 years ago, which I believe was Thanksgiving against the Giants. So that's pretty impressive. Dak was getting the ball out quickly. But, I mean, your offensive line, I thought, did a better job, at least tonight, give or take a few snaps in pass protection than it seemed like they did a week ago.
Yeah, I didn't think Tyler Guyton was great last week when I watched it at first, and then I went back and watched it on tape, and I thought he was much cleaner and much steadier than I had initially given him credit for. So maybe I end up thinking the same thing tonight, but my initial thought was he was not very good tonight. He had, I think on the TV at one point they said he had given up 4 pressures. We know he gave up a sack, and he had 2 holding calls minimum. There may have been another one that was either declined or offsetting or something. I think he had an offsetting penalty in there, but he got flagged a lot.
He did tonight. It was rough. It was very rough for him. And when everybody, you don't need to get the film in the morning to figure out what happened. They kept showing the replays, hands, feet, his set, it turns into survival mode for him. And there was a couple of times where, he was taking the guy to the ground and then kind of pulled his hands off, like knowing, okay, if I go staying attached to this defender going to the ground, they're going to call me for holding. And there were a couple of times there where he even kind of pulled himself back off that. But when he is not good, it's the hands and the feet just aren't working together like they need to.
877-881-1053. We'll get back to the phones. We'll also hear from CeeDee Lamb. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Cowboys Nation watch parties are officially back. On October 6th, the Cowboys go on the road.
Uber Eats has Lola V products? I gotta remember that.
Well, they say in order to remember something, you have to forget something else. Okay, now that is a very cute haircut. That's like a little shag. I've never seen it before.
Well, of course you have. It's the Rachel.
Oh, is that your name?
No, I mean like your name.
No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen.
Right, but I just mean like this is your haircut.
But that's hair on your head.
I'm not saying this is your hair.
Okay, freak it out.
Touchdown, CeeDee Lamb.
That is our What a Play of the Game, brought to you by Reliant and NRG Company. Quite the play there. The Cowboys' second touchdown put them up 14-6. 55-yard touchdown. Dak to CeeDee, who did get flagged for taunting on the play. I saw quite a lot of that on social media. Like, really? This is what we're flagging people for taunting? But, oh well, it was good to see CeeDee back in the end zone. Zach Wolchuk alongside Brian Broaddus, the Super Bowl winning scout. We've even got our buddy Bobby Bell, Cowboys insider, who's staying up late with us tonight. And don't worry, for those of you that listen on the flagship 105.3 The Fan, Bobby's staying the night here at the studio, so no worries about him.
Yeah, take that, Bayless.
Not being here. Let's get back to the phones, then we'll hear from CeeDee Lamb. Let's go out to Mike in Jefferson. Mike, what's going on? You're on the official postgame show of the Dallas Cowboys.
I just think we should elevate Dalvin Cook, throw the computer in the trash, and force feed him and Zeke 30-plus times a game and go win some football games. We've been throwing the football, running the odds the last 5 seasons, and we've got one playoff win against a losing team to show for it. Walter Payton wouldn't be allowed to star in today's NFL. Enough already. Pay these guys, play these guys, run the football.
Thanks for the call, Mike. I mean, if it was 2018, I think that is a hell of an idea.
Bobby, let me ask you something about being the insider dude over there.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to speculate on something unless you know the answer to this.
And if I know the answer, I might tell you I'm speculating.
Yeah, please, at 12:10, you might get away with this. You think Dalvin Cook is very happy about being here right now?
I think Dalvin Cook is probably confused right now.
That he feels like that, like, why am I not up by now?
Dalvin Cook is happy he's on an NFL roster right now.
I don't think so.
Well, I mean, he's not.
You think he had a lot of
taking,
phone calls? You think he had a lot of options? Okay, so then anybody else can go poach Dalvin Cook, right?
He's not. Yeah.
I think. You know what? If somebody needed it back, I think he would leave.
Well, then he can. If somebody else wants it back and wants Dalvin Cook, they can come and sign it.
I'll say this. I think Dalvin Cook's feelings on the situation are very similar to the ones I see from fans on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised.
All right, I like that.
That he has not been elevated, but I also do not think Dalvin Cook is going to come in here and wave some magic wand and all of a sudden he's back to Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, but there was no reason
better than Zeke.
Maybe. I think Rico Dowdle's clearly your best running back.
Okay,
and that's why he's getting the ball. I don't need to see more of Zeke.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm not asking. What I'm asking is like inactive Zeke.
He might be better than Zeke.
Yeah, I'm talking about Rico Dowdle, Dalvin Cook, Hunter Lipke, and Vaughn. That's what I'm talking about.
I think the two guys I'd like to see are Dowdle and Lipke.
Yeah, I mean, look, this was a week there. If he's physically ready to go, which it sounds like he is.
Yeah.
There's no excuse not to play him tonight. It's a short week. You just got beat up by Baltimore. If you wanted to have somebody who was fresh for this game to come in and take these snaps, this was a short week to be able to do it. And this is somebody who I think feels like there's not a whole lot. Like, I understand there's pass protection stuff you got to worry about, maybe like that I'm still picking up and things like that. But when it comes to running the football, I'm ready. I'm ready to do those things.
Yeah, I mean, I would not mind seeing what Dalvin Cook has, but I think
sure didn't sound like it.
Well, I'm not expecting much. That's it. Like I'm
more
here.
than what you're getting from 15.
Maybe he can give you more than what you're getting from Zeke, because they clearly right now, and if the Cowboys are telling you we don't want to see Ezekiel Elliott on the field very much, that says a lot.
I kind of feel like I don't want to see Zeke on the field anymore. I don't know. Maybe I'm being unfair.
He had one really nice physical run on that last drive where he drove in, picked you up an extra 3 yards or so. But yeah, no, it did sound to me, Brian, like Zach was saying, he does not like anything about Dalvin Cook. He doesn't want him to
I don't think Dalvin Cook's very good anymore.
Yeah,
at this stage of his career. Well, we saw Dalvin from, and I think if the NFL thought Dalvin Cook was good, somebody can go poach him off the practice squad, Brian. So no, I don't think Dalvin Cook's upset that he's with the Dallas Cowboys. I think he's happy he's on an NFL team.
You sound like a guy I used to work with over there at DallasCowboys.com.
Well, maybe that guy's smart.
Were you there?
Maybe that guy knows a little something.
Well, they're not very good.
I think Zach was basically just saying he'd rather hand the ball to Bam Morris.
I'm good
today.
with Rico Dowdle. Yeah. I think he's clearly the best you got. And just give Rico the carries. And if you don't want to give it to Rico, give it to Hunter Lipke. I think Hunter Lipke's earned it.
Are you not even curious about Dalvin Cook?
I said I'd like to see what he's got, but I don't expect much. My expectations are just very low for Dalvin. I don't think Dalvin is going to come in here and all of a sudden, holy crap, look at what Dalvin Cook is doing.
Your most dynamic rusher through 4 weeks is CeeDee Lamb with 3 rushes of 10 yards or more. The rest of the team has 1.
And we're tired as heck of seeing the Jets sweep.
So I'm open to watching it. I'm open to giving him a shot. I'm surprised it didn't happen this week. I thought he was going to be elevated. You told me week 4.
Let's get those Trey Lance packages ready, baby.
That'd be interesting. Let's get some Taysom Hill-like Trey Lance packages.
Sure.
You think the offense is creative enough to run that?
Yeah. I'll run a quarterback draw with Trey Lance with 14 seconds
in the
left.
backfield. Maybe he'd be better as a running back than they're using him as a receiver right now. I think all opportunities here are open for discussion.
I mean, Dak ran a read option tonight. Anything's
for
on the table.
-3.
Yeah, I mean, I'm open to seeing Dalvin. My expectation's not very high on that. And we'll see. Hopefully we see him against the Steelers, because that's going to be a hell of a defense you're going up against. They're undefeated right now.
We'll find out.
We'll find out.
We'll find out.
We do have Coach Mike McCarthy after this game. Let's hear Mike.
Clarence City, Dallas. Just talk about the resiliency of your defense. You didn't really get any stops in the first half, and you lost Micah, and you lost DeMarcus Lawrence, and there was a time when even Diggs was off the field, and you were able to get those stops in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, also the time of possession, was definitely in their favor. So I thought those guys just really stepped up, played a lot of guys on defense. Rotating through. But, yeah, I mean, you need wins like this, division wins on the road. So we overcame a lot. So it's a good one to get.
Mike Todd Archer with ESPN. Short week coming off the games you came off at home. How satisfying just to get a win in any kind of manner? Absolutely.
I mean, winning's always a great thing, especially on the road. Road wins are the best. Division games, you can add another layer to it. So, yeah, we feel great about what we accomplished tonight, but I think it's, for the 4th week in a row, we realize that we have a lot of work to do.
And do you have any update yet on Micah?
I do not, and I haven't made it to the training room yet.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. What was the difference tonight with Dak and CeeDee getting going?
I just think really as a whole, just the whole team. I mean, that's really the first 4-quarter game we've played. I mean, it was a complimentary football game. I wish we'd have been able to drive the ball more offensively. I just felt like we left our defense out there a bit much. That long swing right before the half, and then they came right back here in the first drive in the 3rd quarter. So I thought that was very challenging for our defense and for them to continue to fight. But I think the biggest thing was we were able to. Frankly, I feel like it's the first game I called. For 4 quarters.
Louis Scruggs, NBC5 Dallas. Can you speak to the penalties, especially for Guyton in this game here today?
Yeah, number one, there's too many, and I think just like anything, to be able to overcome them, I think that's a credit to the offensive group. But yeah, it's, was it 15-5? So completely out of balance. Had 15 called, I think 11 were 11 for 90 yards, somewhere in there. So, like I've already stated, we have a lot of work to do.
Mike, what was behind the decision to go with Warrior as your nickel guy or third corner or even base guy in the second half?
We really didn't have a lot of work this week, obviously, just with on the short week. But these guys are competing all the time. It was really a close decision on a number of fronts. So I mean, there was actually 3 guys that we talked about, playing in that spot, and so I think it's just a real credit to our group. When you have tough decisions like that to make, it's that means you got a lot of guys working hard and they're ready for that opportunity. But I thought he did a nice job.
There is Mike McCarthy, 4 quarters. They put 4 quarters together, guys. Complimentary football.
It's good. Now the real challenge begins, because as Mike McCarthy says, handling success is the biggest challenge. Not getting your, run gashed in for 2 straight weeks. That's not the biggest challenge. It's handling success. So now the challenge begins.
I don't know really what the difference was in him watching this team offensively against Cleveland and then what they did today. So they had a good first half against Cleveland. They had a good first half today, and then they didn't do much offensively in the second half. I don't think that's 4 quarters of good football.
Yeah. It seems to be that McCarthy
he didn't say good football. He said that where he got to call.
They put 4 quarters together.
Well, he got to actually call a game that was 4 quarters because the last 2 games it
wasn't a blowout.
He's been blown out. Yeah,
it's McCarthy seems very results oriented. Like that's the the baseline, it's like, okay, if this is what it is, that's what it's like. For instance, I think objectively, and y'all may disagree, you may take the Ernie Zampese route of if it's a success, if
I saw him sleep in the coach's box.
I've seen him smoke in the coach's box on Monday Night Football. Zampese's line used to be, if a play works, you're a genius. If a play doesn't work, you're an idiot. Like it's a great play. It's whatever. I think even though it worked and you ended up scoring, like just in a vacuum, I think it's an objectively bad call to go for it on fourth down inside your own 40 in a game that was that close like you did in the second quarter. I don't think that's the right time to go for it. And if not for Lipke shaking Thibodeau, that should have been a loss in Giants ball right there at the 37. But it ends up working out. They get the benefit of it. Yeah. And so it's a different narrative.
But their coach trumped that by like kicking a field goal from the 3-yard line.
Right. It ends up being a different narrative.
These coaches will take two stupid pills with a cup of Gatorade on the sidelines every once in a while.
It reminds me, though, like when you have a kid or when you were growing up and how if you were doing things you shouldn't be doing when you're a teenager and you're growing up and you're coming into your own and your
still
parents
do that today.
No, but your parents eventually say, like, gonna need to let you fail at some point. I'm gonna need to let you fail to feel the repercussions of what you're like, why you can't be doing these sort of things. There is a little bit of that feeling, I think, at times where it's like they're getting bailed out on some reckless things because they're just fortunate that it went through. Like Hunter Lipke breaking through Kayvon Thibodeau. Sometimes at one of these points, it feels like, okay, if you're going to be so results-oriented, Mike, you're going to need to feel the other end of it at some point.
Yeah. I love that.
You don't think running the ball, getting the ball run down your throat is a little bit feeling about it?
No, apparently it's winning ball games. That's the hardest thing, handling success. That's really feeling it, I guess.
You don't want to eat the cheese, man.
No.
I always go back to that.
No, unless it's cheese curds from Wisconsin.
Is this a 500 team?
I don't even know if right now it's 500 team.
How
many teams in the league do you think they're beaten if they play like they did tonight?
Well, if they're not going to give up any rushing yards.
I don't know that there's another team on the schedule that they're playing besides the Giants again that they're beaten if they play like they do tonight.
Panthers, maybe.
Atlanta?
I don't think you beat Atlanta.
I don't think you do either.
You guys act like Atlanta's good.
I mean, Atlanta was in a position to beat Kansas City the other night.
They were.
I just look at it and I say,
came back and beat the Eagles. Atlanta could run the damn football on you.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, the Giants scored on more drives than you did tonight.
Yeah, I said that Atlanta's not any good, and then also I started reminding me of Kansas City and the Eagles and all that.
I'm trying to give you facts like Dalvin Cook.
How good do you think? Okay, I know Wolchuk believes this. How good do you think this division is? He thinks Washington might be the team.
Washington is intriguing. They're interesting.
Could Washington really? And I know you believe it. He believes. He's a believer over here. Could Washington be the best team in this division?
I find it unlikely, but it's not impossible. I think I'd say Washington's shown themselves to be a better football team right now than Dallas.
I mean, it's going to be tough to match up and play Washington with the way Jaden Daniels can hurt you with his legs.
I mean, the way that he can open things up, absolutely. Yeah. It opens up easy throwing. What was it? It was Next Gen Stats had the note today. I think it was the top two quarterbacks, I think, in average target separation right now are Lamar Jackson and Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where the division, I mean, Jalen Hurts is turning the ball over at an alarming rate. I just think the division's down, and we see weird things happen with Washington. Like, I call it the pop-up here.
Yeah.
They did it like
no,
2020
you
with Tyler
called that,
Heineke.
man. You said watch the Commanders. And
it's this division. I somehow have a little pulse on the NFCs. Nothing else in the NFL. I can't pick a damn game, but I did pick the Cowboys in Survivor.
You did, Survivor. Yep.
All right, we'll carry on the conversation. I know a lot of you have been waiting patiently on the phone. Don't worry, we're going to get to you rapid fire next. You're listening to Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
And we interrupt you with breaking news live from the Pepsi Wild Cherry aisle. Carol, can you hear us?
Steve, I've never seen anything like this. The bold, refreshing, and bursting with cherry deliciousness of Pepsi Wild Cherry is, well, let's just say everyone is getting wild.
Getting wild?
That's right, Steve. There's dancing, binge-watching, and is that a slip and slide? They're really putting the wild in Pepsi Wild Cherry. And this on-the-scene reporter can't wait to pop, lock, and drop it.
Pepsi Wild Cherry. Go ahead. Get wild.
On the football field, I protect the end zone to give my team the best opportunity to win. At home, I protect my family. They mean the world to me, so I work hard to give them a life full of security and opportunity. Because just like in football, defense is the best offense. I'm DeMarcus Lawrence, and my kids are my beneficiaries.
Globe Life is the official life insurance of the Dallas Cowboys.
Who's your beneficiary?
Hey, Cowboys fan. Geek makes it easy to find tickets so you can be a part of all the time.
Proud to be the official energy provider of your Dallas Cowboys.
Reliant, PUCT number 10007.
They are trying to hard count. Here's the snap. 4th and 5. Jones flushed out, rolling to his left. Looking, rolling, running, throwing on the run to the sideline. The Giants think he caught it. Wow. Did he catch it? No, now another one comes in and says incomplete.
The back on the field is an incomplete pass. Dallas will take over 1st and 10.
That is our defensive stand of the game. It was 4th down and 6. Daniel Jones going sideline Malik Neighbors and Trayvon Diggs on the coverage. Neighbors got hurt on that play, did not return. Seems as though it was a concussion, but more news to come. 877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text here on the official postgame show of your Dallas Cowboys. Appreciate you staying up late with us. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout, Brian Broaddus, and our Cowboys insider, Bobby Belt. We did get good news regarding Micah Parsons. X-rays negative, has an MRI scheduled for tomorrow. He's hopefully going to try and play next week. And we'll have to find out more about the other players. I know DeMarcus Lawrence seemed like he was good. He could have come back in the game. Team didn't want him to. So we'll see when we get more information tomorrow when the team gets back home. But let's get back to the phones. So a lot of you have been waiting patiently. And let's start off with line 7. We got Adam and Anna. Adam, what's going on, man?
Brian Broaddus, Zach Wolchuk, Bobby Belt. What's up, guys? How are you?
Good, man. What's up?
You know, the biggest winner of this game wasn't the fans, wasn't Dak, wasn't any player. It was Mike McCarthy. Because if this game had gotten south, whew, he'd be out. What do you think?
Don't think so.
I don't think he would have been.
I don't think he would out. But I mean, I honestly, I think that it would have been uncomfortable for him. But I don't think that to me, Jerry Jones has proven he will fire a coach when the players quit.
And that's the thing. I think this would have been, if they would have lost this game, this is pushing over the initial domino that leads to the turnover of, in some time over the course of the next 5-6 weeks, there is a game.
Yeah, this is the first. Yeah, this is the first.
So it's the beginning of the process. I think. Right. I agree with you though that I don't think he would have been fired tonight.
No,
but it would have started the clock.
Yeah, it would have been the first of the. Well, okay, actually, the first of is what that loss to New Orleans. That one they didn't expect, right?
Yeah, not at the beginning of the year.
The Ravens one, you're kind of like, well, that's a pretty good team right there. Yeah, you go lose to the Saints and the Giants in a span of 3 weeks. It's starting that path, and now you start to lose the players.
Yeah, I agree.
But once you lose the players, that's when Jerry's going to make the determination.
And I think at 1-3, especially with an offense that, I'll be quite honest, I don't know how much his players believe in the first place. You're setting up for a potential quit. So I don't think it would have happened tonight if they had have lost the game, but I do think it's kind of a matter of time in this case, because things probably aren't getting better against Pittsburgh.
The fact that all week you heard a very serious, very controlled, almost like when you see on TV, or if you've experienced where a doctor is like, there's some dicey situation about a medical situation where we're trying to diagnose this, and we're going to treat it with real care until we know where this is going. That's how several long-term veterans were talking this week. DeMarcus Lawrence, Jordan Lewis, Dak Prescott, they were talking in a tone and using words that made you feel like, oh, they feel like this is teetering and that we're getting really close to this might be a game that tips it and locker room trouble is on the way. And so it still feels like they're trying to treat it with a lot of real care and that it's really fragile. But yeah, I mean, if that were to tip the wrong way, this was a big game from that standpoint.
Yeah.
Let's go to Mo in San Diego. What up, Mo?
Thanks for taking my call, guys. I'm a big fan of y'all, so I appreciate you taking my call. Just a couple of things I wanted to point out from what I saw tonight. I just can't discount the fact that we are playing with a lot of young guys in high leverage positions, and you just can't simulate the snaps that they have to get to be ready. You can't make excuses. You're in the NFL. You got to play. But, I mean, you look at the depth that we had to show. We were basically down to our fifth corner, our third and fourth edge rushers, and I didn't even think we had that much depth. So for those guys to step up and be able to do that, I mean, you're playing with our, B-team guys, and we were able to still have some success. So those are things that you got to look and say, can we develop and be better later than we are now, have more depth later than we are now?
Yeah.
I mean, we have to take that into account.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
No, it's a gutsy win, but the problem is with the way your salary cap is, your team is always going to be like this until those guys develop, because you're always going to be having to play with younger, cheaper players. And, you're going to have Dak, and you're going to have Micah, and you're going to have, others that are making a great deal of money, but you're going to be playing with a lot of younger, cheaper players. So, I kind of feel like this is always kind of what the Cowboys are going to be with those guys. Am I going the wrong direction here?
Listening to what you're saying there, Mo, I think that you're right big picture when it comes to these young guys.
I think it's great that they won the game today.
Yeah,
I really do.
They should learn and develop throughout the course of the season. I mean, that's what we've kept saying after postgame shows with the guy in BB. But you're right. When you're a draft and develop team,
you're always going to have young players having to play key roles.
Yeah, this is where you're going to be,
because your high money players, you're going to have 5, 6 of those maybe.
Yeah,
and then everybody else is going to be probably a draft and develop guy.
Yeah, it's going to be Dak, CeeDee, Micah, maybe a couple offensive linemen in a corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they told you, Jerry told people twice in the last week he couldn't afford a $5 million cap charge from Derrick Henry this year. Yeah. And so, I mean, that's putting a lot of pressure on Will McClay and that scouting staff every year to, knock it out of the park. Go find us 7 contributors and 4 future starters with those 7 picks.
And if you have one draft that's off, it's going to set your franchise back.
And you will. You will have them.
They might just have.
Just mathematically, it's going to happen. You're going to miss at some point, and when that happens, now you've put yourself in a very critical situation.
Absolutely. All right, let's go to Mikey in Tucson. What's up, Mikey? You're on the official postgame show of the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. Hey, first of all, I want to say big ups to my boy Joe from Flower Mount. Yeah, yay. Oh, hey, man. It's an ugly baby win, but it's our baby. You know what I mean? From a lack of effort, all the toxicity that was happening in the sidelines, like the energy of last week and the week before. This is cool that they came together. It was a mass unit. We at one point we lost Martin. We're losing our edge rushers. Diggs gets a cramp, and then it's like guys filled in and they pulled it out. Yes, it's Daniel Jones, and yes, we own the Giants, but it was much more considering what it means and the ladder and the ramifications of the ladder. But I wanted to ask you guys something. I wasn't too sure. Did we leave New York with 3 timeouts in our pocket? Because I think Brandon Aubrey was rushed in that kick, and I think that was a mismanagement. So I love y'all. I love what y'all do. Bear down.
Bear down. I'm trying to think if they used any of their timeouts. I don't recall. I'm looking for it now.
The first half, I know they were down. I think they used them all.
Well, yeah, they used two. They used 2 of them, and then they lost one.
They lost one. Yeah,
they lost one when you decided to challenge something that seemed pretty obvious it wasn't going to get overturned. I think
Mo's right. I don't think that they did use their timeouts.
So yeah, I mean, maybe he was a little rushed, but I think if you had that sense, or Brandon Aubrey had that sense, they probably would have called a timeout. Like I'm guessing Brandon Aubrey would tell you, I felt ready.
Yeah. All right, let's head up to Mansfield. We got William. What's going on, William? How are you? William, thank you very much. All right, Skip in Austin. Skip, you're on the official postgame show of the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey, guys. First and foremost, I want to give a shout-out to Brian Broaddus. I love your material with Voch Lombardi.
Thank you.
And then also with Bobby Belt from the Love of the Star podcast.
Thank you for doing that. Yeah, thank you.
I have just basically a couple concerns, but then some hope. So the concerns, Cooks, second week, not looking good. Didn't see much Deuce Vaughn tonight. And then there's also that pass rush that we were so accustomed to the last 2 years. We're probably going to need some help in that department because it can't just be Micah doing it. It can't just be DeMarcus. It should be heavy pressure. Now, that being said, my hope is we're about to get DeRon Bland back soon. And I think that's going to be a big help in that secondary to possibly maybe help get that extra time to get that pass rush going. And then last, Mazi, Marshawn, and Lipke, I am very, very thrilled about their development. They're coming along quick, especially with Marshawn.
Thank you for the call,
Skip. Good night.
Yeah, absolutely. You too. Yeah, I'm with you on all 3 of those guys as well. I think Lipke's earned more playing time. I'd like to see him more. Marshawn Nealand, it was a bummer that wasn't credited as a sack. I learned that from Brian. I was like, oh, come on. I thought that was his first sack. That would have been badass for him. But I tend to agree. I'm concerned with the pass rush. Now, I know, Brian, I thought you felt like at times maybe it was – at times we saw some flashes of it, but there were a lot of times I at least thought before we go back and rewatch it that Daniel Jones had a pretty clean pocket to go through multiple progressions.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think there were – for him, there was probably, especially in the first half, I felt like there was too much time. But the guy kind of wore down in that game too, though.
Yeah, I mean, he lost Tank and Micah got hurt.
Yeah,
I mean, so I don't have the pressure numbers yet.
I've been searching for those for the last hour.
But what I do have is he dropped back 41 times, and the Cowboys were credited with 3 quarterback hits in this game.
Yeah.
So they weren't getting close enough to make contact with him. I felt like too often. I'll tell you what. I'm trying to sit here and think of times where I felt like pressure really made an impact on the throw. And the one that comes to mind for me is Carl Lawson bull rushing when he had the throw to, I'm trying to remember who was it. Was it Slayton that had that ball where he dove out and he dropped it.
Yeah.
I felt like Jones was maybe a little affected on that throw, by Lawson kind of bull rushing the guy back. But otherwise, there weren't many times where I felt like Daniel Jones didn't have a lot of time to just kind of stand back there, scan, and make play. And then the one where he had to roll out and throw to Neighbors, where Neighbors had the concussion issue, that was one where you generated some pressure and he had to kind of break the pocket.
Osa got there. Tank had almost 2 sacks. There was one where he was just couldn't wrap up and finish on that. But overall, I agree. I mean, I think that the pass rush is something that, maybe Carl Lawson's an elevation that they're hoping maybe he can step up and give you something there. But moving forward, that could become a talking point. All right, Tyler and Cisco, we will get to you on the other side. We'll also hear from our player of the game. You're listening to Dallas Cowboys football. We'll continue in a moment.
Cowboys Nation watch parties are officially back on October 6th.
Uber Eats has Lola V.
Dallas Cowboys, brought to you by Blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today. Bell Nunnally, behind every great company. United Ag and Turf, the official ag and turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. American Airlines, proud to be the official airline of your Dallas Cowboys. And by Ford, your Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas.
Lamb is in a slot on the right this time. Snap to Prescott, looks right, now goes screen left. Dowdle with a block to the 10, to the 5. He's into the end zone, touchdown.
That is our player of the game, Dak Prescott, 13 in a row over the New York Giants. 22 of 27, 221 yards, 2 TDs for Dak. And he was brilliant, as we mentioned, according to Next Gen, in the quick passing game tonight. Also his 55-yarder to CeeDee Lamb against Deonte Banks in coverage. Lamb gaining 40 yards after the catch, 33 yards over expected. He's currently leading the league in yards after catch over expected this season with 107 is CeeDee Lamb. But Dak Prescott, our player of the game, brought to you by Jack Black. Want to use what the pros use? Jack Black is the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit getjackblack.com today.
What was it that you used to confuse last year? Was it blockchain and blackjack?
Yeah.
Blackjack.
That was a tough one. It really got me a few times. Honestly, I've tried to forget about that one.
At least you never called Aaron Andrews Andrew.
That's true.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks, Andrew. Back to you, Andrew. That's Brian Broaddus and our Cowboys insider, Bobby Belt. I'm Zach Wolchuk hanging out with you. Let's get to one final call on the evening. We got our guy Tyler in Arlington. Tyler, what's going on?
Gentlemen, what's going on with y'all, man? Well, I know what's going on with y'all. Y'all been awake all night.
Yeah, we're just hanging out after
much.
a 20-15 Cowboys win.
Yeah.
Well, it's a great thing that we won.
Yeah.
The shame is I'm coming at the tail end of the night. There's not a lot I can say that ain't already been said, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. When we started that game off 3-and-out on that first drive, I had that sinking feeling all day that we were going to lose this game. Man, we came close. We gave them a shot. But offense looked like their old selves for the entirety of that first half afterwards. Mazi Smith, man, the guy we've all been waiting for, the guy we've all been rooting for, that guy came out of the woodwork and started pulling some WWE moves on some running backs. He was slamming people. He was trying to injure people. It was insane what I was watching Mazi do there, the one technique and the 3 technique. But Jake Ferguson looked like an animal. The whole offense really ate. I'd love to see him reciprocate in the second half, but they couldn't. The fact that the defense gave up scoring drives on pretty much every drive, that sucks, but we'll take it or leave it, right? I mean, field goals are one thing, touchdowns are another. We squeezed one out. We don't feel any better about the team than we felt, after last week against the Ravens. I feel better. There's a lot of pessimists out there, but I feel better.
Oh, yeah, Tyler. I'm glad. I'm glad, Tyler, that you feel better. And it is. It is always a better feeling. Certainly it's better feeling doing the post-game show after a win than we did the last 2 weeks. I will take that. A lot of room for improvement, but certainly, hey, Jake Ferguson, 7 catches, 49 yards. One thing is, I feel like with Fergie, man, him and Dak, they can't quite seem to, get it where he's catching the ball in stride. He's kind of having to, dive down to the ground.
Sure.
Go snag that. But Ferguson and Lamb, I guess my big question moving forward, it will be Jalen Tolbert. And Tolbert, I think, has made strides as a receiver. He had that big catch along the sideline on the comeback route on 3rd down to extend a drive. But 2 penalties early on. Brad's telling us on that 3rd and 12 he's lining up in the wrong area. Yeah. I think he's a massive liability when it comes to blocking in the running game. We've talked about this. You look at teams that you're envious of, that run the football really well, like San Francisco, their receivers block. Jalen Tolbert, the first drive, misses a block, a big reason why the play can't even get going. So I think there's flashes of growth that you've seen from Jalen Tolbert, but the mental side of it is concerning to me. Year 3, we're not lining up correctly, and some of these penalties can really kill you and cost you games.
Yeah, it's something that I remember when he was picked. Brian, you remember how much we were talking about?
Oh my gosh!
How excited we were.
Yeah, we were excited.
But B, we're talking
about him in the 2nd round.
Yeah, when they took Sam Williams, I was frustrated they didn't take him. I wanted him in the 2nd round. I thought really highly of him. But when he got picked, there was a discussion of, oh, is this a break from the norm? The Cowboys went and got a player from Tulsa, which is a group of 5 school at the time. But then it was also like, Jalen Tolbert plays at South Alabama. Like, that's not a big school. Usually they draft big school players. Look at this. They're going outside their comfort zone. Good. They're just going to getting the talent where they can find it. And it does make you wonder a little bit when you see some of the issues that he very publicly has talked about on his own that he's had with confidence and some of the stuff that has gotten, messed with his head a little bit in terms of his confidence and everything like that. It does start to make you wonder about, like, maybe this is why they have so frequently in the past applied. We need to see you do those sort of things at a big-time program so we know that you're able to handle everything that comes with it. Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, like, those are programs that are the college-level version, a very small version of, at least you can show me you can handle a taste of what this is going to be.
Yeah, it's it's one where, like, to me, Ryan Flournoy, that dude's going to block for you, and
that's the next thing. I promise you, in these leading up to the Pittsburgh game, people are going to start to ask. I know Bobby on Love of the Star, the questions that we get, the Dean Julia mailbag questions, are going to be about. They're going to be about, well, shouldn't Flournoy play?
And he might not be ready. That's a 6th-round pick that might honestly make some of the same mental mistakes I'm talking about here. But, Cook's isn't exactly a great blocker for you. CeeDee will do it and get engaged. But for this rushing attack I think the offensive line, when it comes to run blocking, the last 2 weeks, they've done a better job than I think people are giving them credit for personally.
They were okay tonight, I thought. Like they at least showed...
You're seeing movement, which you didn't see last year.
I thought recently they have not shown that they can keep defenses honest at all. Tonight, at least, it was a running game that I was like, I feel like that's a running game that will at the very least keep a defense honest, and that's really just the baseline of what I need.
Yeah.
I want more than that, but if you can at least give me that helps the offense flow if I get that. If you're giving me nothing, then you're being a real detriment now even to the passing game.
Now, heading into Pittsburgh, I know we've had a lot of texts about the timetable for DaRon Bland. I think
he's not practicing this week.
So
I have to.
We're not thinking Pittsburgh's an option.
I asked
probably not ready for the Steelers game.
I asked this question.
Initial thought was Pittsburgh would be the earliest date, like 5 weeks ago. No, I know, but like 5 weeks ago, whenever this initially happened, that was like the first day that sounded like it might be kind of possible. But yeah, it does sound like now it's either Detroit or you're going to have that bye week, and then you would think would certainly be ready for the 49ers.
Yeah, I asked this question. I said, hey, I asked this guy, I had a couple of guys this question. I said, do you have a better timeline on 26? And I got, the answer was nope. Progressing great. Won't practice next week if that helps.
Okay. So we can pretty much no-go for Pittsburgh then.
I would say no-go for Pittsburgh for sure.
All right, so there's an update on the timetable there for DaRon Bland as we put a bow on this one. 20-15, Cowboys get the win over the Giants. Final thoughts from this one?
You will never apologize for a win, especially a division win on the road on a short week. But don't let this fool you into thinking this is an elixir for some very real fundamental issues that still exist for this football team.
The fact that they played better run defense against a team that I thought could run the ball a little bit was a positive for me. I think the fact of the matter is your offense is kind of running at half mode right now. Need to kind of figure out how to have that thing go for 4 quarters. You have one of the best special teams players in the league right now with your kicker. It's a shame he missed that one, but also give your punter some credit. My man is like, when he's been asked to kind of kick him out of trouble a little bit, he's done a nice job. So good for them in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, the penalties, that's got to get cleaned up. 11 penalties for 89 yards. Agree 100% when it comes to the run defense. I mean, you look at what they ran for tonight. I mean, 14 carries for 24 yards for Devin Singletary. He averaged 1.
That part was very encouraging tonight.
Very, very encouraging. Now, next week, the game is in Pittsburgh. Eric Chiafalo is going to take pregame and postgame. I'm going to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I'm going to go, and we'll see how this one turns out.
Pittsburgh.
On to Pittsburgh. We're on to Pittsburgh.
It's a night tilt, right?
It's a Sunday night football game.
Oof.
Yeah, Sunday night football in Pittsburgh. One of the most expensive tickets of the season.
Yeah.
And it might be a 4-0 Pittsburgh Steelers team. But that's a rivalry, one of the best in NFL history right there. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to break that one.
Gosh, they just showed Mazi he just threw Smith's
he
aside.
suplexed him, man. Yeah,
Wow.
he did. Mazi, and Mazi. I mean, if we're doing star up, star down, star up, Mazi Smith, baby. Let's go.
5
that was a
hours
hell
to
of
get
a
to
game.
watch some tape. I love it.
Yeah, now you're going to get to watch it.
I'm excited.
All right. Thank you very much to Peyton Russell. You did a fantastic job, as always.
Debatable.
Trevor back there, his first voyage working the number 2, pulling some highlights. Look forward to hearing what he pulled for Two Guys, One Booth. You can catch it on the flagship, the G-Bag Nation, tomorrow. Of course, we had Chris Strong handling stuff.
Chris
as
is
well.
always strong.
Chris is very, very strong. Fellow playing a Wildcat like myself. Bobby, thank you very much for staying up late with us. We love you and we appreciate you. And then Brian Broaddus as well, who went through the gauntlet today, 11 hours of just pure radio badassery. Shout out to him. Of course, he'll have the film breakdown with you tomorrow. I'm Zach Wolchuk. Until next week, hugs and ham pounds, everybody. It'll be Cowboys at Steelers Sunday Night Football. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Every moment, every touchdown, every yard is a reason to celebrate. If anyone knows that, Ciroc.